Hello YouTube and fellow Star Wars collectors. On this episode of Toys Are the Way, we'll be taking a look at another character from the first wave of vintage collection figures for 2025, Dedra Meero from the Andor series. Welcome back everyone. So today we'll be taking a look at another addition to our Andor collection and shelf displays, Dedra Meero, who's one of my favorite characters from the series. We unfortunately only have a few characters from the show. We have both Vel and Cassian, and the only other figure we actually have is another Cassian in an Imperial disguise. So kind of slim pickings when it comes to Andor, unfortunately. Like I said, Dedra is one of my favorite characters, and it's definitely a cool release, but also a bit frustrating because this is a problematic repaint or partial tool, and I have some things to say about it, to say the least. But with all that being said, don't forget to smash a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, or even become a channel member, and let's take a look at the packaging and figure. Taking a look at our vintage style packaging, we have the Star Wars and Andor logo prominently displayed up top, followed by Dedra Meero on a blue name pill color. We have a fantastic image of the character taken directly from the show, looking very Imperial in her ISB outfit, and all things looking absolutely fantastic with the Kenner logo down below. Additionally, we have this decent figure looking pretty good on a bubble. On the back, she is VC 346 in the line, Dedra Meero, and we have a small description of the character, followed by the Vintage Collection logo, and additional images of the card and figure. So it's actually really nice to finally see another character from the Andor series make their way into the Vintage Collection, and for the most part, this is an excellent looking card back, and I really look forward to adding this one to my Imperial carded collection. Taking a look at Dedra out of the packaging and focusing on the photoreal and portrait, I think they have done a really nice job here with this character. I am definitely seeing Dedra in this sculpt, and yeah, I think they've done a really nice job here. The paint applications on her eyes and everything look really good. The hair is just one solid plastic piece, looks pretty decent, it has some nice sculpting to it, but yeah, overall I think this is a pretty spot-on representation of the actress from the show. Unfortunately, Dedra only comes with one accessory, a blaster pistol, which has some nice sculpting and detail on it, but it would have been nice to see an additional accessory such as a data pad. Moving on to the articulation and the rest of the sculpting, I have got to start off by saying I am very disappointed that Hasbro opted to use the male officer legs for this figure. That is definitely a bit of a shame, and while it does seem a little bit better now that I have it in hand, it's still not perfect. Just take a look at how small her new upper body waist is, and then it just kind of flares out kind of oddly in my opinion. I really would have liked them to, do this proper and give us all new legs for a female officer, which they could use multiple times. They could do Juno Eclipse, they could do Governor Price from Rebels, they could do that female character from The Mandalorian, and just on and on and on. So, the tooling investment is there, Hasbro, and I'm really disappointed that you put the old Imperial male officer legs on this figure. Regardless, those are nicely articulated. They have the new style barbell hips, they got swivel at the thigh, lots of articulation, rocker ankles. That's great, but they just don't look great on this figure. But moving on to the upper body, she has, of course, a new female upper body, which is pretty cool. She's got her own rank badge there, which is nice. We've got new arms here with unfortunately, just a swivel wrist. She doesn't have a hinge, which is a little bit of a bummer, but again, those figures that have smaller wrists and usually female characters don't get the hinge at the wrist articulation. She does come with this blaster pistol, which is pretty nice. Of course, no holster, which is a bit of a bummer. I'm pretty sure she had one in the show, but I can't recall off the top of my head right now. And then taking a look at the back, you got some pretty nice sculpting and detail there with the folds on her shirt. And yeah, I think they did a really nice job on the upper body of this figure, the portrait, all that kind of stuff, looking really good. But wow, what a letdown when it comes to these legs. They're not awful, but I want to see premium releases and sculpting and detail when it comes to my action figures, and this one unfortunately was a little bit of a bummer. And lastly, I wanted to show Dedra compared to some other figures. Taking a look at the male officer next to her who shares the exact same lower leg tooling, she just looks awkward. I'm gonna say it. It looks better than she did in the promo images, but it's just not perfect. And I really like this character, and I think, female Imperial officer tooling could go a long way. Also, taking a look at her compared to figures like Afra or even Hera, she looks a bit off. Her boots are way too big, kind of bulky for her upper body, and yeah, it's just not working for me. So definitely something Hasbro should consider for future releases of female officers. The Imperial Officer sculpt makes another appearance in the Vintage Collection, but this time with the inaccurate release of Dedra Meero from the Andor series. While it's wonderful to finally have some additional support for Andor, along with new upper body tooling for the first female Imperial Officer release for the Vintage Collection, the use of the lower leg tooling from the previous male officers is absolutely unacceptable. I would have preferred Hasbro to delay this character's release until the proper lower leg tooling could have been implemented, allowing for an aesthetically pleasing 375 release, which could have then been leveraged for additional female officers. Dedra Meero has all the modern articulation that would allow this work of art to be displayed wonderfully in a Star Wars collection room, and I think it's a shame to hinder such potential greatness with inaccuracies and budget limitations. While some may argue that both the pants and boots are a decent use of existing tooling for a non-main character, it has to be said that the reuse is not representative of collector level attention to detail, and Hasbro needs to be careful not to choke on their repack aspirations. I hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at this latest addition to our Vintage Collection shelf displays, Dedra Meero from the Andor series. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And don't forget to smash a like on this video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really helps and is always greatly appreciated. Thanks everyone, and may the Force be with you.